What's up, you guys? My name is Wolf, and welcome back to LEGO Arts. So, in the last video, we did a showcase on the Yuzora from KH3 Remind. So, for this episode, I might have said that I was originally going to do, like, a Ruby showcase, in case with, like, either Team Coffee, or with Salem, or with both. But those figures are taking a little bit longer than I expected. So I had to push them back. But while I was working, I had enough free time to go back to one of my old minifigures and decided to redo him. So this episode is going to be centering on the Red Hood. Yes, as you can see, we have the Red Hood returning back in a brand new style. I completely redid the figure, and I am super proud of how this came out. So Red Hood has actually been a figure that I've been wanting to redo for a while, because I'm not giving myself too much hate, because Red Hood was actually one of the first minifigures I did, and it has gone through a lot more phases. I don't have any of the original photos, so I can't show you, like, sort of the evolution of the Red Hood minifig. But for a long time, I wasn't fully satisfied with how the last Red Hood update came out, and I've been wanting to, like, rechange it for a while, but I kept figuring out, and I kept, like, jumping back and forth to figure out, like, how would I redo this? So finally, I settled down for, like, a design that I was happy with, and I decided that, like, okay, I'm gonna do this design, and I'm gonna turn it into this figure, and apply, like, the skills that I've learned thus far. And this was the overall result, and I am now satisfied with how Red Hood looks. So, as you guys know the whole drill, I'm going to take this minifigure, do a review, and explain the process, why we went this route, and then go from there. So, without further ado, let's get the pastel out, and get this showcase on the road. So when it came to redesigning this figure, I really wanted to upgrade him, like, really give him a whole new idea. So, I took the original Red Hood minifig, and first, like, remove the arms, got rid of that clay head. I actually got rid of it a while back. I've just been, like, pushing it off of getting to it. But I got rid of that, then I repainted the torso entirely. Like, I got rid of the, like, paper symbols. I got rid of those, repainted all of this gray, because I wanted to give him a jacket to add in, like, sort of like those 3D elements. So I repainted the torso, or so, and, like, drew in sort of, like, my own detailing. I did thought about, like, maybe reattaching, like, the symbol back on, because I always thought that was, like, a cool design for Red Hood. So I thought about, like, maybe putting that back on him, but then I realized that, like, a majority of the symbol would be covered up by the jacket, so I decided to scrap that idea and just go ahead of adding in sort of, like, his armor plating, like, underneath the jacket, and then actually add that in the torso on the back, which we'll get to that in a little bit. So the guns are the same. I didn't change the guns at all. I decided to keep them as they were because they're pretty cool guns, and they're a very unique design for Red Hood. Plus, I thought that they still look pretty cool on him, so I kept those. As you can see, like, on the arms, there's some detailing on here. Like, he's got, like, the guards, and like the guards on here. Little detailing, like, on up here, completing on with the rest of the jacket. Same thing over here. I did make one of the sides a bit bigger than the other one. I think it was this one. Yeah, it was this one. So I had to even that out a little bit because I didn't really like of how they were uneven. As you can see, like, there's some silver painted onto the hands. I almost left those blank because there wasn't a whole lot to do with them. The legs are still the same ones that I used in the previous figure. As you can see, he's still got some articulation. But after double checking a few Red Hood pictures, I saw that, like, oh, he has like some silver guard pieces on his legs. Okay, so I painted those on. Including like this little silver line, like, going through. I think that's the idea that, like, the armor would be like, like, protecting, like, his lower leg. Like we got the kneecaps, then the lower leg, and then his boots. I added those on, and it is on well. The rest of the legs I pretty much just kept as it was, because wasn't really a whole lot of detailing there. You can vaguely see, with the jackets, that I added in, like, these black outlines. Lines, like, not just for where, like, these two different browns connect to the jacket, but also, sort of like, these lines over here. You can see it a little bit better on the back. Here's the symbol. I actually printed out a brand new one, because the two symbols, they were a bit messy, and I realized that, like, oh, that wouldn't look good on the figure. So I got rid of those, printed off a new symbol, then I repainted it, red. Like, it was red, but since it was done from a printer, it didn't look as nice. You can kind of see a little bit of smudges here. I did my best to, like, get rid of all of them, I probably didn't get rid of, like, some of the very small ones, but there's, like, some paint smudges here. It was because of the jackets. I probably should have let this dried a lot more, but when I tried, like applying on the jacket so I could figure out, like, the size of, like, how much would I have to cut off, how much would be left, could I still, like, move the arms without super gluing? The whole jacket's super glued. Still to this day, the one minifigure I have that doesn't have a super glued, like, jacket or trench coat is Marcus from Detroit Become Human. And I still don't know how I can replicate that to this day. But anyways, I got rid of that, like, all the extra stuff, but I probably should have waited until it was completely dry, so that way it would be a lot easier to, size this, and then figure out, like, how much you needed to cut, especially for the arms, especially for the holes in the arms. Like, especially on the right side, you can still see, okay, wait, I don't think there is articulation, or maybe there is. There is. But I did aim for, like, more articulation into the arms. There we go, some articulation. I aimed it more, but you can kind of see, it'll especially be better if I, like, remove the head. You can kind of see that with the jackets, I accidentally cut a little bit too close, of the hole of, like, where the jacket was supposed to connect. That's, unfortunately, it did come out a little weird, but when the helmet's on, you can barely see it, so that came out pretty, so I guess that came out pretty well. Speaking of which, okay, hold on, before we move on to the rest, let me just show you guys, like, one of the things I wanted to do. So, this is, like, the Jason Todd head, and this was actually the original head I had on before. Like, back when I first started customizing, one of my original plans was to make, like, the sculpted out helmet, then, like, remove it and put it back on, remove it and put it back on. And unfortunately, I didn't account at the time that the clay would get stuck onto the head, so that was an unfortunate result. And why I'm using a different torso is because I accidentally sanded off this a little bit too much. I tried to make it, like, a bit smoother in case, like, I wanted to, like, put this on and put this back on. But unfortunately, I made it a bit too loose. For my liking. So as a result, when I remove the head, the helmet goes with it, and I have to use a different torso just to get rid of that. So that's an unfortunate result, but it does still provide the idea that, like, if I wanted to remove the helmet, and, like, put on a hairpiece, I do have that option. So I was really glad of how that came out. I also did a little bit of detailing, like, you could see some pockets on the jackets. I just added those for fun. Plus, I thought it looked pretty cool for Red Hood. Now, moving on to the helmet. So the helmet was, like, one of the big factors that I wanted to do. So the complete clay hood, I completely scrapped that idea. I then thought about getting, like, a motorcycle helmet. Like, hang on, if I still have it. Yes, I still have it. I don't have it. Like, my idea was I would take, like, this motorcycle helmet, add in some clay around it, and then, like, try to even it out to make it look like a Red Hood head. Unfortunately, this turned out horrible. I didn't really like it of how that came out. I wasn't satisfied with it. So I was still jumping back and forth of, like, what do I want to do? And then, as I was exploring my Lego bin, I found, like, this spare rescue minifigure that I got with a poorly printed helmet. And I decided to, like, perfect. So I took the helmet, I sanded off the sides, I did a little bit of sanding on the back. You can kind of see the sanding. And I sanded a little bit of the back to, like, smooth out the helmet. And then once that was done, I actually did something different. I took, like, a white primer, painted the helmet first. I then went back with a bright red, and then finished painting on the rest. I probably could have done, like, a more crimson kind of color, like the same kind of red that I used for Ruby. But I decided to, since at the time I had already fully painted on this, and I was planning on detailing, I was just like, okay, we're just gonna stick with this color. Plus, it's not a really bad color. It actually looks pretty good. Yeah. On the sides, I did try to make this a bit more accurate to, like, Injustice Red Hood helmets. The sides probably didn't come out exactly as how I wanted them. But then again, doing, like, the same kind of detailing on both sides is a pain in of itself. So I didn't worry too much about that. But, like, these outlines on the helmet starting on, like, the face and then moving on to the back into the back. I first did it in Sharpie, and then I went back with the black acrylic marker, to carefully draw over the lines, and then connect it all the way to the back, to the back of the head. And I did have to repaint the face a few times because either one of the eyes was a bit larger or a bit smaller, so I kept having to repaint them, and also the detailing of I guess you would call this the jaw. The jaw design. I kept refixing that, so the helmet was pretty much a bit tedious, a little bit more detailing wise than the rest of this. I think one of the most tedious things really was the jacket, because again I should have waited for it to dry and then apply it on. But overall with how this came out, I'm really proud of how this Red Hood came out, and this is now a satisfying overall design for the Red Hood minifig. And that's gonna do it for this episode of LEGO Arts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So overall, I'm really proud of how this redesign came out. The only other design that I would have gone for a Red Hood minifigure would be the Batman Arkham Knight version. Maybe I'll do that in the future. Once I figure out how to do the helmet and the hood piece. But for now, this is gonna be the Red Hood minifigure overall. And again, I'm really proud of how this came out. I could have fixed a couple of things, but with the overall final design, this turned out to be really cool. I have been thinking about redesigning some of my older minifigures, like Nightwing, Red Robin, maybe Batgirl, and potentially the Justice League, especially after the latest movie came out. I haven't seen all of it, but from what I heard, it's like Avengers Endgame, but a lot darker. So that'll be interesting to check out. So overall, with the other showcases I'm still working on, Final Fantasy VII, Avatar, Team Coffee, Salem, and the buildable figure, and now the Clone Troopers. As I mentioned in my final episode, my final gameplay of FF7, since I have a lot of projects going on, I'm still figuring out how to do each of them. But I'm now beginning to have an overall idea of with the Ruby showcases and Final Fantasy VII. I now have officially decided I'm gonna do Barrett's because this morning I figured out of what I'm doing, of what I'm gonna do with Barrett. So now that I have an idea, I can include him onto the list. But I promise you guys that as soon as I get done with each of these showcases, I'll be sure to record and upload videos to them for the channel in the future. So if you guys would like to see some of my previous showcases, actually the first Red Hood minifig from the Batman Family Showcase, or God of War, Detroit Become Human, Kingdom Hearts, Devil May Cry, you can check out all of those showcases in my LEGO Arts playlist on the channel. And if you guys would like to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications. It really helps us work on less ways, LEGO products, and made that episode fun. So anywho, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, share your friends, subscribe to YouTube, follow me on Twitch. And here's half of the road. Woo! Woo! Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time when the ice moon rises.